can be taken away from their country and brought anywhere that they feel a trial is necessary.
Do you know whether he was involved in all those massacres as a leader?
No, he was set up, and even his wife is saying that it's all lies. It's a setup. Just like there is no Osama bin Laden, like you think. He doesn't exist. That's why they can't find his body. Can't find a body that isn't real. And isn't it interesting, as they went from town to town in Afghanistan, the Taliban just happened to leave videotapes laying around with a big caption, tape of Osama bin Laden. Please play. That's high security. People who want to hide who they are and be security-minded, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
So the character that's depicting bin Laden is not bin Laden. What about the brother who spoke about him, that was set up also?
That whole family, they're Saudi Arabian.
Yeah.
15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudi Arabian. Most of the terrorist leaders are Saudi Arabian. Saudi Arabian is a dictatorship of one family.
And then there's this new ad now. Do you see that new ad? What a wonderful country.
Yes. However, if you know people who live there or service people who are stationed there, it is not such a wonderful country. And they'll sooner just chop off your hands and your feet just for committing the crime. Not a problem. This is who visited Bush in his ranch in Texas and demanded pressure on the Israelis and other people who were not being so nice to Saudi Arabia. And then Bush made a statement, yes, I'll do what they say. Bush, for the most, I hate to tell you this. Well, no, I don't hate to tell you this. But he's practically illiterate. Nothing is here. Nothing. He can't even read 2 words in front of him. See? He's totally mind control. And Laura Bush, have you ever heard her speak? Have you ever seen? Blank. Blank. She is on more drugs than Jacqueline Kennedy ever was on. Totally controlled. Totally. And on November of 2000, when you voted, and I've told you this perhaps once before, you would have gotten better results pressing the lever on your toilet bowl than you did on the lever on the voting machine. Because at least when you press the lever on your toilet bowl, you pretty much know where it's going.
Yeah, you get something done.
When you press the lever on that voting machine, it's probably nothing behind it. Because they're not registering anything. In fact, you know that they already had poodles that were registered to vote, and canaries and other animals all over the country that were registered voters and whose vote counted. Whereas servicemen overseas, their votes were thrown in the garbage. So what did that prove? And then they took it to the Supreme Court and the federal government. Well, hold on a minute there. The Constitution of the United States says the federal government cannot get involved in elections. In fact, the federal government is set up as an agent for the independent states. Each state has the right to print its own money and raise its own army, and are in fact independent countries. But somewhere along the line, and the federal government in Washington is supposed to be an agent only to deal with foreign affairs or continental issues. But somewhere along the line, that got changed. It got changed to where instead of you voting for elected figures and you telling them what to do because you voted for them and they represent you, it's switched so now that you are working for them and they're telling you what to do. When did that happen? When did that switch occur where you no longer are important but you work for them? Is that when the shadow government came into being? That's underground? Anything that's underground is hiding from the light of day. Remember that. And now it's been brought to the surface and you're saying it's okay. And the worst is yet to come. Because when the stock market crashes, and it will, when that dome comes down and every Muslim on the earth gets incensed, there will be a free-for-all everywhere. And it will cause economic collapse, especially in this country. And what happens when the stock market crashes? and utilities fold, and there's no lights, and there's no gasoline, and there's no work, and there's no school, and there's no food, what are you going to do? And what will happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. This guy is going to call the UN and say, we need help because we don't have any troops left in this country to stop the civil disobedience that's occurring. That's because our troops are every place else but here. There are no troops. All the Illinois civil troops are gone. You know that. I put that on my website a few months ago. They're all gone. There's an emergency in Illinois. No civil troops. Only they'd have to call in soldiers and foreign aid. And that's what they will happen. They will call in the UN to stop the violence and the destruction in this country, most of which will be under Chinese troops. There are already 1.9 million Chinese troops stationed around the borders of this country. They are in Panama, Bahamas, and Canada, and Mexico. In Mexico, in the mountains just over the border, the Mexicans talk about Los Chinos, who are just sitting there waiting. I have people in Honduras writing to me and telling me that the Chinese Navy is right there in Honduras inviting people to tour their vessels. This is not shown on American television. Panama Canal is owned by the Chinese now. China owns the deepest water port in the world, which is in the Bahamas, 90 miles from Florida. And all the parts of their Navy are there. I can tell you, I just came back from China. And the troops there are quite in alignment, ready to pounce at a moment's notice. You are being shown on television commercials with Asian characters. You are being shown people of importance with of Chinese descent. Who landed in Chicago a couple of weeks ago? The 7-foot-tall Chinese basketball player, okay, becomes an American hero. Every category of American life will be dominated by Chinese characters to get in line to accept Chinese troops. One more year. And then they will say that the United States is too large of an area to be controlled centrally, and they will split it along the Mississippi River. The Eastern District capital will be Atlanta, and the Western District capital will be Denver. Washington, D.C. will become an Illuminati ritual center, and New York City will become the global capital. That's why the license plates have on it now Empire State. It always was the Empire State. Now it's on the license plates. That's why Hillary Clinton became the senator from New York, so she can become the global senator. She doesn't ever have any background in New York State. She just moved there and became senator, like that. She had competition. JFK Jr. and Rudy Giuliani. He developed cancer and had to drop out. And we know what happened to JFK Jr. End of story. She was practically unopposed.
You think JFK was an accident or something that was...
You weren't here last time I spoke.
No.
It was no accident. It was no accident. He was murdered. And so was Egypt Air on purpose, so was TWA, so was Swiss Air, so was Alaska Airlines.
There were 7 people on it?
What are you
There were
talking?
7 people on it? That
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Who were the people that were on those planes?
Well, that's a whole other lecture, and I've already talked about that here a while ago, I believe, so I don't want to go back into it. Suffice to say,
Any of that in the book?
I believe some of it is, especially I wrote about Egypt Air, Swiss Air, TWA, yes, it's in the book. And where they all come from, JFK Airport, and where they all fly over, Montauk. You think that they would have noticed some similarities there. Well, every time I fly over that area, I clench my seat till we get past. But yes, they use particle beam accelerator weapons based at Brookhaven National Labs to destroy the aircraft. Except Egypt Air